Good night, folks. Welcome back to Mike and Mike. We're delighted that you can join us one more time, spend some good quality time with us again, and we appreciate that. Please remember to like and subscribe. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. As usual, our panel here, and we have a new guest. We start off with King Tox in the house.
King Tox, baby.
Then we have a young man, they call him Michael, a.k.a. Nobody.
Good night.
And Baby Trump, a.k.a. Michael is in the house. And as usual, Mike, myself.
Like a pastor.
Yes. So
get in the spirit.
we're going to get in the spirit tonight over some new things what Mr. His father is up to, Mr. Trump is up to. So we're going to jump right into it, gentlemen. So our topics, so far we have a couple of, one where Trump is offering immigrants or you call it illegal aliens.
Illegals, not immigrants.
Illegal aliens.
Illegals.
$1,000 for them to revert back to their country. Self-deport. That is one. He also thinking about open Alcatraz. I don't know. Then he also thinking of going to war with Iran again. And the other thing, he's still lying about he's in talks with Chinese. So, I mean...
No, they are.
They are in talks.
When?
They're not lying. They've been in talks.
No, they're not. The Chinese government, said that from election date, they haven't spoken.
No, they just set up a meeting.
Yeah.
So some U.S. officials just went.
They got no choice but to
That's
talk
probably
to him.
like last week or something.
They got no choice but to talk to him.
I think it's.
No, they don't have to.
They have no choice.
They
but
were
to talk.
sitting. They wasn't begging him or anything. They were just sitting there
was.
waiting.
They're hurting.
Yeah, hurting for what?
They're hurting. What do you mean? They're hurting.
Everyone is using them to make their products. Louis, Versace, all of them using them to make their products, and then they come back over here in Europe and selling for $1 million. Who is hurting?
They're hurting.
China is 5 years ahead in technology.
It doesn't matter. We are the biggest consumer in the world. We're not buying anything from them. So what
are you talking about? You're
not
buying
hurting.
anything?
We're not buying nothing from them. You'll see. I can't tell you this all the time.
Seeing is believing.
I tell you this.
Yeah. So there's a meeting set up for the week and for the U.S. and China. It's gonna be in Switzerland.
Yeah, because Switzerland is
Trump is probably going to back off.
So they're not going to meet on U.S. soil and not going to meet on
Switzerland's
Chinese
neutral.
side.
Switzerland's always been neutral. That's why they always meet there.
There's a common ground for these presidents to meet.
Neither of the presidents are going to be there. Like government officials from both sides are going to be present.
It's always been like that with Switzerland.
Right.
Switzerland is neutral.
The Secretary of State's going to be there, I guess. So what type of convention they having over there if that's the case?
Not a convention. It's just like
meeting.
Yeah.
With all the heads of states. I mean,
all
or
of them.
some of them.
Yeah.
Switzerland is the neutral country. Like of all the world powers, that's what the thing with Switzerland. That's why people.
I'm always curious why they always go to Switzerland. I mean, what type of reason why they choose Switzerland to have
nice country, you know.
Yeah, it's always
been to Switzerland.
Yeah. It's always been. From what I understand.
You've
As
been
a little
there?
kid, I've
One of
always.
the prettiest country I've ever been.
You have a lot of farmland, and all the cows eat grass. You know, it would be like back home in Jamaica.
So these cows over here don't eat grass?
Nah.
No.
What they eat?
These cows eat
Lobsters and what? Shrimps.
They make like special feeding for them.
Yeah.
Like same thing with the chicken.
Genetic modified food for these cows.
Right.
Exactly.
So they could grow faster and bigger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I eventually, you can't really. I mean, when I buy my stuff, I just buy organic stuff and just pray and hope that they're speaking the
Here
truth.
you go. One is fed different.
Well, but we don't know. I mean, they will say that until they get caught. You know, later on down the line.
So why buy organic then? Why not just buy the cheapest?
Well, I'm doing the bet. No, for what? That's just like what I said before on our show. You know you're going to die someday, right? but you're still trying to live your best life in the context of you're still trying to eat right, you're still trying.
You could plan all you want, reality is reality.
Yeah,
right?
you're going to die. That's the point that I'm making. You know you're going to die, but yet you still living your life. Look at you as an example. You're trying to live a healthy life. You're a vegetarian. You're trying to exercise, and but you're going to die, right?
like,
you
so
know you're going to die.
So my belief is that we don't die.
What you do? You're incarnated.
No, we go to we transcend to a different dimension, I would say. Because
Where you get that from?
death is not the end of life. No, life is mobile, It continues.
So you're saying that is life after death.
If I'm saying that it's life after that, that's what the Christian says.
But that's technically what you're saying.
But I don't believe you die. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when someone lay in the grave, Richard, one of our pastors just passed away.
So you're not your body,
If you're coming from the principle level of the soul is still alive, yes, but the body is dead. If that's where you're going, then I would subject to that. If you're talking about now, and then here's another piece of that. Even though the soul don't die, however, the soul is not there lingering around in some other galaxy or some other dimension coming back as a butterfly or whatever. There's nonsense.
No, so
that is
no
nonsense.
need to come back if you go to a different dimension.
Or even if you're
as I said, this is what I believe. I don't know. It's a belief.
But where you get that
signifies
belief,
doubt.
there's something has to enlighten you or trigger your mind.
Whenever I drive past a cemetery, right, or you attend a funeral, you start thinking what's the sense? Were we just created or born to die and that's it?
Yeah.
Technically, no. We weren't really born to die. But because of, again, I'm going to go to an angle where you don't really like on a different forum. But we were created to live forever. That was originally. But after Adam went on a different page and allowed Eve to deceive him.
That's your belief.
Then
That's your
this
belief.
is not it's my belief based on biblical writings. That I don't have anything where God came down to me and said, "Hey, this is the original."
So what do you think,
case.
Mr. Mason? Because you're a special guest in our one.
Yeah, we want to hear the special guest. Don't be shy.
No, shy. Me and Michael, I think we talk about this more than maybe
Few times.
few times
more,
or a million
multiple
times.
Yeah.
So, all right. My belief, right? I was grew up in a Christian home.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing, right? So maybe Michael would say, we are brainwashed, but the truth is yet to be told in terms of what is right or what is wrong is what you believe, or what can you prove. So
I like that,
is what can you prove. Me personally, as I said, I came up from a Christian background, so I don't want to blaspheme or say anything that, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just my belief. So I was raised in a Christian home. Go to church, go to do the right thing. 10 Commandments. But then again, you look at life and like, all right, when
you die?
not say die, when this heaven is gonna appear, or you know what I mean? Because we hear about it so much, you know what I mean? And then you question things because it more lead me to nature in terms of what would I say now?
Evidence.
Why am I living such a good life and something bad happened to me? You know what I mean? So stuff happen where people question. You know what I mean? And then you said, all right, we leave everything to God. But you still, as a human being, you're still going to question certain stuff. It's like, why me? You know what I mean? Because, for instance, I know a lot of Christians, like maybe back home, like anywhere. And they believe, like, they're not living any lifestyle in terms of, they may be, what's the word should I use now? They're waiting on the right, like, God blessing. And they're waiting on it for years now, and they're in the same position. But they also said, the Bible said, God help who help themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just try to keep it my belief. Sometimes I try not to stray because worse, I'm a truck driver.
So what is he? He's trying to say that he doesn't really question God, you know?
Maybe you could say that.
I mean, you can question God, but in the context of you have two different type of question. You have a blaming question and you have a curiosity question, right?
I mean, it's all curiosity.
Yeah, but then again, I could be curious of why you wear that shirt. Then I'm also can be put it in the contents of blaming you why you wear that shirt, because if you didn't wear that shirt, the lady would have seen you outside and then didn't walk in front of your car and stuff like that. So you have that type of curiosity, blaming question. And then you have a question now, for instance, like for me as an example, the Bible talks about God has no beginning and no ending. I can't fathom that in my mind. Everything we see around us, what we know of, has a start time and has an end time. Now, you have a being telling me that he doesn't have that. That don't sit well with me. And
What do you think about that, Justin?
I question
I
it,
wanna
but
hear
I
your
question
opinion.
it in, how is this possible, Father? How is this possible, God? And in that sense, they're like, oh, this is crazy, this nonsense. That is a difference.
Well, no, I might. To be honest, that makes sense because you said basically everything that you know of has a beginning.
Correct.
And an end. Yeah, but what you got to understand is that God is intelligent design. That's a celestial being, so He's infinite. So He has no beginning or ending. because
Right,
he's
but who
infinite.
created him? Is there? I mean,
What do you mean?
again,
Nobody. It's not.
This is where the thing come in. The
Well, that's
Big
what I'm
Bang
saying.
Theory comes.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. You can't think of it. See, you're thinking of Him as how we were created.
Right.
He's intelligent design.
But,
So it's not.
okay.
He wasn't,
So
he wasn't created.
if you look on science, which is he loved this ground.
Mm-hmm.
Science operate or science develop. You know, you have matter, right?
Yeah.
You have time, and then you have space.
Yes.
Without these three, we cannot be existing.
Don't exist, exactly.
Right? So if you leave matter out of it, so I know that God lived out of that rim. You know, it's just like a person who designed a computer. You know, you design it, and if you're the designer,
I'm
you
not sure in a religious that.
well, that's the angle I didn't really want to go, because I said this is. But I mean, it's something that we could continue on further.
We
on.
definitely
Yeah.
have to get have a religious episode.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
talk about
No,
it.
and you guys are more well versed in that than I am,
Yeah.
because I'm
No,
not.
no,
You know me.
no.
I'm not a. I was baptized Catholic, but I'm not a religious man.
I'm not a religious.
I make
man
sure I don't
either.
eat fish on Fridays to keep my mother happy.
I'm more.
You know
of
what I
a-
mean? I get the cross on my forehead on Ash Wednesday. Keep my mom's happy,
The
basically.
appropriate word is more. You're more spiritual.
It's-
Spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual. Nah, yeah.
So what the
definitely.
president is proposing is that people self-deport, right? Deport
Mm-hmm.
themselves back home. They have a chance of coming back.
Of
to
coming
America.
back home,
Right.
coming back here, right?
I think that's a good deal.
So they have a chance of coming back. If
I
they
mean,
paid
$1,000.
Huh?
Yeah, right.
And they get $1,000.
What? And they get $1,000 to
No,
leave.
they're getting $1,000 to leave.
If you volunteer, right? It
Uh-huh.
could be a trick. I don't know.
I think it's a
I ain't
trick.
give them no $1,000. Like, yeah, we'll give you $1,000. Kick my, you ain't getting no. Get out of here. You don't
No.
belong here.
If I'm involved in that, this is how I would run it. If I'm gonna volunteer as that, I'm going to that whatever. Then again, they may just catch you, lock me up right there, because I'm
Yeah.
saying you gotta put that $1,000 in my hand,
But
and then I will
$1,000,
decide.
What are you gonna?
But what are you gonna
do
do
with
with $1,000 anyway?
Exactly.
I mean, but it depends on the country, because you know.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, they go to
yeah,
Mexico.
you go to Mexico. You
They
go
go
to
with $1,000.
Paraguay. You go. I mean, 1,000. You're going to
You
Colombia.
can't go nowhere in the world with $1,000.
Of course, come on, Mike. You go
And
to
do what
Ethiopia.
with
You,
it?
you go to South
And
Ghana.
do what with
Come
it?
on.
And do what with it?
I mean, you're not gonna live a lavish life for a lifetime, but you can.
$1,000.
I don't agree
$1
with
million in a 1,000.
I know you're talking
Not
about 1,000
$100,000.
US dollars.
I don't agree with that.
1,000?
I wouldn't give him anything. Get out.
Mike,
Before I throw
Listen,
you
how
out. I ain't
mu-
give
how
him no
much is it
$1,000.
for full
That's
year?
me
Yeah.
paying somebody $1,000. Oh, I'll give you $1,000. Can you please leave my house? No, I'm kicking you out of my house, Uncle Phil style.
But remember, you have countries that
listen.
are really poor.
listen.
I just name you a few.
And?
a US $1,000 or a euro would actually have you live some type of a lavish life.
I'm
for a
just going to
few
say I
weeks- for a
disagree
few-
with you.
few
That's all I'm
weeks.
going to say. I'm not
You're
even
gonna
gonna,
okay. Well,
yeah.
it's
You
fine.
disagree with him too, right?
Yeah, but question, right?
Yeah.
So you guys agree with the whole alien or immigration? Everyone like supposed to go back where they come from?
Yeah.
I mean, if you come here illegally,
Yeah. They didn't do the proper
Illegally.
due process, like the
Alright,
paperwork, things like
Illegally.
that.
Oh, you mean come here illegally?
okay, so
They don't got
illegally
paperwork.
meaning, for instance, as an example, what I've heard of and what I've witnessed, there's different country, Mexico, other countries where they come to the borderline and
Oh, that's what-
they sneak to
Yeah.
the border.
That's
Like,
like-
that is illegal.
Okay.
That's illegal.
Guys,
yeah.
guys, we even
Yeah.
if we overstayed, we
That's
didn't come here
illegal
illegal.
to- yeah,
No, because we got permission.
Yeah,
We got a
if you
visa.
overstated, that's
Yeah,
not
that's what I
necessarily.
wanna
That's
know.
a technicality.
You
Nah,
guys
that's a
only
technicality.
talking about the person who sneak in on a boat.
Yeah.
or
Right.
doing
Yeah,
illegal.
yeah.
Correct.
'Cause, okay.
If
Those
you came
are
here
the
on a
individuals.
visa, that means you came here to be productive. You came here to learn.
Right.
You came here
They
to work.
gave you
You
permission.
came here to contribute to
They sign
society.
your permission
Okay.
slip.
That's a
saying-
difference.
That's
You know
what
I
they
mean?
hope
There you
for
go.
when they give you that visa. They hope for you have that
Yeah.
mentality to
Yeah.
contribute to societies. Even though, put it this way, you have people who come here or came here the right way, and they are criminals still. They are murderers and stuff
That's
like
true,
that. They
that's true.
still come and make trouble. So it's really hard to say if you come here legally, you're gonna be a bad person. If you have people that come here legally and they're still a bad person. So
Yeah.
it's
The only thing I want to help maybe the president with is the person who come here and waste their time. I would swap them out. Can you have
Yeah.
another person?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have another person that need the opportunity
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I
just
agree.
to make
Yeah.
a difference and cannot get the opportunity.
Yeah.
And you have person who, because I was talking to one of my friends maybe 2 days ago. All right, no, yesterday. And I was like, you can get the opportunity and don't make use of it.
Something, right.
So don't think it's just like, he's in Jamaica. Don't think America is America, because I know our friends here now that never been back to Jamaica 10 years now. And it's because what? They don't make use of their time. So
I wouldn't just write that in stone that people just don't make use of the time. Remember, people have different obstacles what we go through. Look, we came here. Most of you guys, you came here, and I myself, and we all here to make a living, try to have a wealthy life, right? Mm-hmm. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't reached there yet, and a few of us haven't reached that level yet. We're not wasting our time.
When you say wealth, in terms of what?
and yes.
Well, financially.
Oh, okay.
Financially.
Maybe specific, because being LT is also.
Yeah, that is true.
From
I mean,
a
that
wealth.
is more key than having funds, because there's a lot of billionaires out there dying and their money can't save
Your
them.
money
Save
can't
them,
save
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So health is the most wealthiest asset you can possess right now in today's time. Yeah. But I mean, it is touchy, because again, you don't know what is what. People who are legally here, who came the right way, and they make headways. They come, they try to hustle, they trying to do that, but it's somewhere down the line. That's just, I don't know if they would call it curse, or they call it just bad luck, which I don't support, I don't believe in. But in context for people to understand, like, people spend most of their life here and they just still they came here at 0, they probably just at still 2
You know why?
or 4.
You know why? People don't like changes.
Yeah, they're rigid. Yeah, he's right.
I mean, if you don't like
He's
changes,
right.
why you come here?
No, I'm telling you. All right, you see, when
They get comfortable. They don't want to change.
comfortable. When me and Michael came here, we hear what was the first job they said is the best job in America? I think it was a hospital. That's what, yes, because, and Michael can tell you, I went to the hospital and I was like, I'm not seeing what everybody talking about.
True. And when you're making a certain amount or earning a certain amount, people used to brag about that, like, I make $40,000 a year. And you make $40,000 and you're like, damn, I'm struggling. Yeah. I mean, as I said, it's your comfort level, because where we came from, right? Mm-hmm. When I came to America, there was this guy. I met him when I was working at Golden Cross. Shout out to Golden Cross,
Big up Golden Cross.
Word.
Started out there. The guy was working at McDonald's.
Okay.
When I came here, when I left Golden Crust, he was still working at McDonald's. My dad told me when he came to America, which he came here around like 1995 or something like that, the guy was working at McDonald's. The last time I saw the guy, probably like 4 years ago, he was still working at McDonald's.
So that's like 30 years in Mickey D's.
That's just laziness to me. So
Just regular McDonald's, he ain't even a
That's
supervisor.
just lazy.
Not a store
But
manager.
I think he went to being a supervisor.
I would think at
But-
least a supervisor, 30 years
but
in
what,
Mickey D's.
what do you really make though?
We can assume
Ain't
here-
nothing wrong with working at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's
in
like a
Mickey D's,
springboard job.
I worked in.
You
Yeah,
have
it is
to
a
start
springboard job.
somewhere, right?
I'm
Right.
not gonna lie. I worked 6 years during high school at McDonald's. One thing about McDonald's that I'll say.
You said high school.
In high school, right? From 15 to 21, I worked at McDonald's. I must have got fired out of like 8 of them all the time. But the bad. I work. It's just that I got a bad temper. I flip out.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed about Mickey D's when you're young, that's the perfect job to get because that's your first foray into corporate America. Even though it's McDonald's, it's still corporate America. They have a certain structure. And what I did learn is that you start making in Mickey D's, store managers are not make bread. Like a store manager. So like basically in the post office, that'd be equivalent to a station manager. So like a shift supervisor, it depends. Shift supervisors can make money too, but it depends on how many hours they work. But store managers, depending on what franchise you're working with, or you're within the corporate structure of Mickey D's, you get an expense account. Some store managers will get a car, and then you can move on up to regional district. So
No, I mean that's if you work for the company itself, and not a franchise.
well, even a franchise,
franchise, you get a vehicle to drive.
it depends on how much that franchise makes. Like for instance, in Florida, where I worked at, the McDonald's that I worked at in Tampa, that was owned by Casper's company. Now Casper's is one of the biggest franchises in the United States. He has, I want to say, well, back then in the 90s when I worked there in 95, he owned 33 McDonald's in the Tampa Bay area. I want to say at this point in time, this is 30 years later, the Casper's family, because I think old man Casper passed away and his son took over, they got over like 150
I mean,
stores.
in order to be the friendly ghost, you had to pass away, right?
We used to, the Casper, but then what it is, he had a structure. And then, they have certain things that they would, but that was a franchise. So, but it was still the same structure. Like McDonald's, even though you got to remember the thing with McDonald's corporate
Right.
is that even if you're a franchise, you got to do it the same exact way that they do it. So it's the same exact structure to where they got, and like I said, and then some of them, they'll give you expense accounts. They give you cars. It's not necessarily like, say if you're a store manager and they had like, I know in Tampa, they had to deal with Chevy. So they had all Chevys. But it depends on what kind of Chevy it was. You were a store manager, you might get a Chevy Lumina. If you're a regional manager, you might get a Chevy Tahoe.
Okay.
If you're a district manager, you might get a Cadillac. You know what I mean? So it was, but they all had beepers. Remember, this was before.
I mean,
they
that's
had beepers
corporate.
expensive.
That's at the
Yeah.
corporate level. You do get
Yeah.
a company vehicle
Yeah.
and so forth, but not like a franchisee. And a franchisee owns a store and you
Yeah.
give the manager a vehicle to drive. I don't see
It
that.
it depends on how big. Like Casper, since that was a big franchise. Now there was another one called Sunway. Sunway, that was family owned. They had like 8 shops. So he didn't necessarily. He didn't have enough money to issue them cars. Like to
Each
get.
store manager, you would give cars?
Yeah. In Casper's, each store manager. I remember that they had a store manager.
Like the general manager for all those 32 stores.
No, the store manager. So I mean that particular store manager, and then store managers
Never
and
heard
up.
that before, Mike.
But remember, Casper's company. Look it up. Like Casper's company management, it was really good. I'm like, I want to say they got now like over 100 shops, like 100 Mickey D's. People don't think Mickey D's generates a lot of money. Think of the worst Mickey D's. What's the worst Mickey D's in the Bronx? When you think of Mickey D's, what's the worst Mickey D's in the Bronx to you?
I know.
We all done ate a Mickey D's.
Not me.
You don't need a Mickey D's? You don't need no Mickey. I love Mickey D's. All right, well, say for instance, like that Mickey D's, the one that have you always drop
I
you
eat
off at.
that Golden Crust.
Oh, you eat Golden Crust?
And Gold Star and Cool Runnings and Blue Cantina, HIM and all
Cool
those.
Runnings, really?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, no matter what time
Start
and
bringing-
night.
Start bringing down your own, man. I keep
Listen, it's not the point of bringing my curiosity, just what we talk about. Cool runnings. No matter what time of night, whether I'm
Cool
leaving
Runnings at?
here, is a restaurant around the block.
24-hour restaurant.
Word.
No matter what time of
Like a
night
curry.
I leave, I will pass that restaurant then, and it's packed.
It's packed. That means it must got some good
three,
food. Some good y'all man food.
what food?
What food?
So I'm like,
What do you mean,
okay,
what food with it?
No. So I say, okay, this place is popping. I mean, I like that.
All right.
A sign and all the nine. Meaning they clean and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
go in there and I bought, like, I think at the time, a friend of mine wanted me to buy a couple dish, and I bought like 4 different plates.
Stop doing that, man.
Man.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving right along.
Moving forward.
What do you mean moving forward? I need to know what's going on with these Cool Runnings. I don't want to.
I mean, you gotta check it out. As I said,
You gotta check it out, but I'm
he
saying,
likes curry goat, so.
Oh, no, I'm not in.
well, no, they don't. Yeah.
I like oxtails.
But at the end of it, I don't get. I mean, big up to the guy. He has a good marketing strategy. That's one thing that I can
Oh, so that's what it
properly.
is. So it's marketing.
The marketing
keeps 'em up.
strategy. Other than
When he's
that,
up all night. If he's up all night, that's
So-
that's a late night spot to go soak up all the liquor, soak
So
up all the
Mike right here, right?
Casamigos.
Micro and logistic business. He's in the business of transportation. Always this trade war thing affecting your business. How would you say it? Is it affecting your business?
Wait, the straight what?
trade war.
Trade war.
Trade war.
Oh, the trade wars. Yeah, how is that? What are you hauling anyway? You
Most of
an
these
independent
ports are
contractor?
shut down. So
Independent contractor.
Yeah, but independent contractor. All everything.
You haul mail?
Yes.
Because I know they be giving, because they give. I heard the
Yeah.
mail. I heard, like, I got a boy that's an owner operator.
Yeah.
He says mail is like one of the. There's always somebody always needs mail run.
That's the cheapest
They
freight.
say Amazon's the worst though, because Amazon pay you
Yeah.
per run. You get stuck on the
Yeah.
George Washington Bridge for 6 hours.
Mail Amazon cheapest freight. So I
Stay away from them.
yeah, stay away from it.
Yeah. No, you're not the
but-
first. A lot of truck drivers
Yeah.
say that.
To be honest, right now,
I heard a lot of the freights are, and a lot of truck drivers are like.
I
late.
don't think it really in effect as yet. So we're still watching. We know it's going to make an impact. It's either going to be for good or it's going to be for bad.
Right.
But right now, I don't see any
Things are
major
not so bad right
impact
now.
right now. But
I mean,
It's all over the news that a lot of truck drivers are hunting
You have to
for,
understand,
for
you know,
work
the-
right now because most of the ports are closed down.
these news media company, they make up news, you know,
exactly.
to feed the people.
Yeah,
I
mean-
tell him this and he doesn't listen. How many times we
Listen,
told him this
it doesn't
already?
have to
Okay,
be-
so I understand
Fact.
that, but there's somewhere down the line you have to listen to something. As what Justin and I agree
know-
on, what we do is we listen to CNN, we listen to Fox, we listen to Red, we listen, and then we
hear this.
compile.
He's actually in the business.
And I'm gonna tell you,
he's
say,
doing it.
Are you hurting right now?
Right?
freight market been down 3 years ago. So
I guess.
it's not
It's not because of Donald
it's
Trump.
not because I'm not gonna say it's not because of Donald Trump.
3 years ago, Joe Biden was the president.
Now,
It's because of different stuff. Because all right,
now, Mike, you over the road or you do short runs?
I'm over the road.
Or you also you leave
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
few days? So-
But I work for myself, so mostly I'm a regional.
Yeah.
So all right,
That's good though. Over the road and your own operator.
yeah, I try the regional. So
Yeah.
I'm mostly northwest.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh, northeast. Okay.
northeast,
Yeah.
live in Georgia, New York, and then
Okay.
maybe-
Oh, so
yeah,
you make that up that 95
yeah.
corridor or 77 or whatever.
But freight rates down because of more than one reason. It's either persons who are inexperienced about the business and a person who need to make a truck payment.
Okay.
So the business is how you support yourself and not support, how you maintain a business. And what I mean in terms of if you buy a truck cash and you finance a truck, at the end of the day, if Michael have a truck payment, it will take a load 3 times lower than the normal rate just to maintain his truck
Just to
payment.
maintain his truck
If
payment.
Michael White have a truck that is cash,
He's not starving.
he's okay.
Yeah.
So
What do you mean cash? Like paid off?
His truck
Like
is
he's
owned.
on he
Paid
paid.
off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's paid off.
Yeah. So
So
the
you
only thing he's
finance your
worrying
truck
about-
and I paid my
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah. And them rigs,
okay.
how much your rig cost? Well, how much your rig cost now? Like 150,000, 200,000? What a rig cost?
See, all of that is all right. So that's the next thing again.
All right.
In the business, right? When I was just going in the business, the person who introduced me to trucking is my father-in-law.
Uh-huh.
He introduced me to trucking. So the pretty truck and at the of the truck, they get the same pay.
Okay.
So it's what you go into business for. You're going to business for to drive a new truck, or you're going to
make
business
money.
for the money.
You're going to business
So-
for money.
A guy that driving a $30,000 truck, he may be bringing a load for 10,000. The guy that driving a pretty truck is bringing his load for 10,000. The two truck is bringing the load, but
He's making more money.
he's making more money.
Yeah.
So that's how it's all in the game. But
Yeah.
But why would you go to just in the trucking business just to drive pretty truck?
no, you have truckers that love
Why, when
trucks.
you're looking for a woman, you're looking for someone who's
Yeah. You
Well,
got
physically
truckers are
attractive.
lonely. A trucker life is a very lonely life.
Yeah, but I mean,
Why you
This
need this
is
truck
why
stop?
when
Why you
you're
need this
looking-
truck stop
Why, when
pimping?
you're looking for a woman, you look for someone.
But that's
who's
you
physical.
can't use that as a comparison.
Why not?
But Mike, it's not even pretty.
You cannot spend your rest of your life with a truck and
No, but alright,
feminine,
so, alright.
reminiscing and
No, but
caressing.
features change though.
Yeah, and
What?
you
Features
talk-
change.
What?
Body features, they change, right?
Yes and no.
Mike,
What do you
what kind
mean,
of
yes,
car?
I know.
Hold on a minute. What
You,
kind of car?
you remember that video? What you? I think you are one of you guys post where this guy was saying he don't know what's going on with these cougars now because today's society with these young females, they look like crap. These older women,
I got me a
35,
cougar. I got me a
45,
cougar.
50,
I got me a cougar.
look so well.
Them young women can't wash
So
right. I
again-
got me a cougar.
What kind
Again,
of car you drive, Mike?
Huh?
What kind of car you drive?
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm just asking.
I drive a Range Rover.
He got the double R.
You drive a what?
He
What?
got
A
the
Range
Range
Rover.
Rover.
Buy a Ford.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Ford is crap.
All right.
A Honda.
He got a
A
big
Honda?
man truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would drive a Honda. Well, I
Why you
own a
didn't
Honda
buy a
before.
Honda instead of a Range Rover?
I don't know because that was my taste.
All right. So it's the same thing.
but again, I'm not. Listen. Okay, let me debunk you guys. Structure what you guys put in place. Now, it's a vehicle where I am not using it for a living, right? It's a vehicle where I drive it for luxury,
Yeah.
for me to get from point A to point B or just whatever case. These guys are going into the business just to drive a luxury, spend certain amount of money just to drive a specific luxury and beauty, and have no intention of trying to accelerate in business wise. They're just there, and if the money comes, the money comes. It's just like that's how I'm understanding. Because if you go into the business just to drive a pretty truck,
It's
I
not
don't.
It's not even a pretty truck, Mike. I'm going to give you a good example, right?
Yeah, break it down because
All right. It's not even a pretty truck.
What's a pretty truck? A Mack or international?
All right. I'm just going to explain to you, right?
All right.
A guy that have a Peterbilt and a guy that have a Freightliner,
Peterbilt, yes.
he's going to look at you and be like, all right, my Peterbilt will never break down. And he have his Peterbilt. He can afford it. He have his Peterbilt. His fuel mileage maybe be more than a Freightliner. But his Peterbilt is going to
Last longer.
last longer.
Ah.
So he will stick with his Peterbilt. So it's just all about like it's more than one thing to the game. You have like every other trucks. So once you see like every other truck, it's gonna be a Peterbilt with a specific engine that's gonna get the job done. A Freightliner, if you drive on the road right now, I'm going home. I can count. I'm gonna see maybe 10 Freightliner on the road like my truck.
Yeah.
But you will maybe see one Peterbilt.
So that's what. Which one is the expensive?
So the
one?
Peterbilt is like the Mercedes Benz.
It's like the Mercedes Benz.
Okay.
what? Not the Mac. What do you call
Yeah, I
it?
thought Mac isn't
Yeah, I
Mac up
thought
there
it
too.
was
'Cause I
the
thought
Mac
Mac
with
trucks
the
are
big
pretty
dog.
big,
Alright,
like
so-
big dog trucks too.
If you're not in the truck in this industry, so you're really not going to realize Mack don't make over the road truck again because of the death.
The only-
Also, they all doing short runs. It's all like straight
Oh,
jobs
okay.
and everything.
Because of when they
Okay.
came in with the initial, I don't remember the date, but when they came in the initial like a couple years ago, Mack said, "All right, I'm not gonna tamper with my engine because I already made my name."
Makes sense.
So he just does straight
He
jobs
just
now.
straightly local.
Ah.
So now I think it's different now because I started seeing more newer Mack truck. But Peterbilt, if you say it would be Mack, but you can have a Peterbilt engine in Mack. So it's more different engine. You know what I mean? But you have the top brand would be Mack, Peterbilt, Volvo.
Volvo, yeah. Volvo makes.
Freightliner, and in that. But as I said, I go in there for the money. So once it's
Not to drive a pretty truck.
not to drive a pretty truck.
But that would make sense. That's the whole concept of.
But you
And Mike,
said
how long
you
your
buy
work
a
truck
Range
last you for?
Rover.
How long it last you for? 10 years?
So the good thing about my truck, you see, Mike can tell you see, I maybe consider myself lucky. I have a 2014 truck, but I have an old engine inside it.
Okay.
So the older the engine is better the engine.
Ah.
So I rebuild my engine. So I have a brand new engine, but it's an old engine in a okay truck. So I hardly have problem.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, because I don't. So it's kind of different, you know what I mean? So my truck is expensive because of the engine.
Yes.
Because you don't buy the truck. The truck is just a body. The
Yeah, it's
engine
just
is
the
that
engine
one.
is what counts.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have one of the. I don't have a Peterbilt, but back in the days, every Jamaican like 60 series. The engines are in the new Freightliner nowadays, my baby DD15 or DD13. They're garbage.
Oh, they garbage.
Too much sensors and it's like
And how long before it craps out? 5 years?
not even 5.
Really?
All of them is a
Wow.
break. Yeah, so it's just the game. But I think you guys was gonna ask me this question because Donald Trump and the I'm gonna tell you.
When the trade wars?
No, not the trade war. This is bigger than the trade war. I just Googled it. I want to give you the date.
Yeah, Mike. So, if you buy a Mercedes, a Range Rover, a Ford, or a Toyota, or a Honda, does the same thing. It transports you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you remember you asked me that kind of a same question the other day when we were talking about. I forgot the context of the story we was talking about, and I said you asked me if I have a preference. We all do have a preference of when it comes to even picking women, when it comes to even picking your friends, when it comes to even picking a job, career, etc., etc.
You want is a good woman,
You do have
Right?
preference. Well, I mean, the term I would use said, "Good luck with that." I mean, it's hard to find. It's not easy. You're gonna pick up a good woman like that, even though they outnumbered men. Because right now it's 3-1, if it's not higher,
What, 3 women and 1 man?
to 1 man, right? And
But that's just 3 women. How many good women?
yeah, so go figure. I mean,
They all got the spirit of Jezebel.
I don't.
Yeah,
There was
what? You found the question?
Yeah, the FMCSA, right? They came in with Donald Trump just passed the law maybe a couple of weeks ago about the English speaking.
oh.
Yes,
Yes, if you're not an English speaking truck driver,
you're not allowed to have a CDL.
you're not allowed to have a CDL.
I heard of that. I think that's ridiculous.
It is
like,
ridiculous.
That's not.
And
that's
this is
not,
what I'm trying to
What's
tell
ridiculous?
these guys.
What ridiculous?
Huh?
You are dictating someone
Is
based
it
on.
an actual law, though,
okay.
or he just
No,
said
they're
that?
putting it. He's
No,
gonna
it's
sign.
I don't
it
think
off.
he's gonna make it
But
into
no,
the
I
law.
wanna-
That's
so-
not gonna pass.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, what's ridiculous?
Here's the thing. Let me create this balance to this, because one of the avenue they were going down, which I can see. Now, I don't know. I mean, someone not speaking English, if it would disable their ability to read in English, right?
Of course.
So one of the things, the avenue they stare, and I can see it, they're staring down the line is that if you can't speak English or read, then you are putting people in danger.
Yeah.
Because you will see certain signs or certain
Not
things.
you agreeing with Donald Trump.
What? No. As I said, when it comes
I
to
like it.
when,
Keep
when it comes to this, I from day one I told you I am a balanced person. I give credit when it's due and when it's
Justin,
not
fully
due.
converted.
But you watch. I told you this already.
When it's not.
Once I get him to start
But-
watching CNN, we're good.
But at the same time, the problem what I have is that these people, what I would do as a leader, okay, maybe you discover that because they probably have some history where they're saying, okay, most of these issues or accidents or certain deaths happening is because of these people. I don't know that. I never researched it to figure out. But let's say, case in point, that's what they discover, right? Instead of any racist issues or bias issue. Let's say that's the case. Then as a leader, what I will do then is instead of banning them or putting them aside, offer some type of
An ESL class, English as a second language class.
yes, something where you can, okay, your government wastes so much spending, right? They have so much spending, which they're knocking out. Take portion of that and say, all right, here's the thing. I'm going to pay for your class. You go and you go learn English.
Not at this age.
What?
Um,
You know you can learn any language up to 10, 15 language at your age.
of course, but what
And
I'm
so
saying-
what's the point you're making then?
Mike, I understand what you're saying, but I don't. It's weird to me to see somebody driving such a dangerous equipment. It's worse than a plane.
It's like you can be a bomb.
No, I can tell. All right, you see,
Don't
I'm going to
say
give you
that.
an instant.
No,
right?
yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky to drive a rig.
Because I'm going to give you. All right,
And you
You
do
have-
straight jobs or trailers?
Yes.
You got Class A.
Yeah, Class A.
Also, yeah, those are
I'm
those are
going to
super
give you an
tricky.
instant, right? If you're driving down a grade and it said, like, maybe I think like the highest grade is like maybe 6 or grade 7, you're going to have signs that say you need to pull over and go check your brakes. That's brake check area. You don't know what's bottom of the hill. If you can't speak English and you can't read English and
Yeah, that's a good point.
you don't read that sign and you don't know you're going on a hill till it's too late with 45,000 pounds. A lot of persons, motorists,
accident.
yes, they don't know what's inside of a truck and they don't know a truck cannot stop. They
At
put
its
a-
bacon.
Yes.
It cannot stop at its bacon.
Yeah, it cannot stop at your preference. Because I'm telling you, we have engine brakes and we have air brakes. Anytime that air brake gets,
It's not like a
It's
car.
it's
right?
not like a car.
Yeah,
So with
right.
45,000 pounds, you going down a hill, not doing the right thing, anything at the bottom of the hill, it's over. So in that case, I would understand because the CDL test and the permit, to my knowledge, is in English.
Here's the and that's what I was about to address. How do they get their license then?
Exactly,
Because
that's-
it is in
that's my
English.
point.
That's fraudulent
That's
activity.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, something
so
isn't right.
something is not right where I don't agree because you have a written test and you also have a practical where you have to name out certain parts of the truck, like you know what I mean. So my when it first
You first said it.
said it, I was like saying I was always wondering how somebody get a CDL license and they can't speak English because you can't pass the test.
That's a very valid.
Okay, so here's the
That's a
thing.
very
Here's the
valid
thing.
point.
Let me debunk that for a second. Certain portion of it. Even though you cannot speak English, it doesn't mean that you cannot read it. The case in point, there's a few artists right now that becomes popular in the U.S. Chinese, Africans, and stuff like that cannot speak English from the day they're born or whatever the case may be. But when they do sing, not even Beyonce, Alicia Keys, or anything.
Give us names.
There's a few that they are on American Idol. There's a few of them that won, and they right
need
now
names.
I don't remember their name. That's what I'm
think
saying.
I saw-
Yeah, a few, especially the biggest one was the Chinese.
But-
And there was one from England with what's the name? The guy that run American Idol from day one.
Simon Cowell.
Simon
Come on,
Cowell.
Britain's Got Talent.
He brought her from England. She cannot speak. Not England. Forgot the country. I think it's Uruguay, which I'm gonna address too. She cannot speak English for the lick. She sing a song fully English, and not most of not only most of the songs what she sings, she sing it better than even the artists themselves in the context of perfect English. So to make a long story short, even though these guys, because that was one of the things that bugged me out, and I when I saw it, witnessed it for myself, watching American Idol and these things, I was like, how in the world you cannot speak English, but you can sing in English better than most of these people who were born here in
I mean, I could sing in Spanish too. Bad, bad, bunny,
I
baba.
mean, that's repetition. That's repetition. That's more so.
What was
that's
that?
music.
Dima.
But you know, Mike,
You're funny.
It's more than
I don't know.
It's more than just reading, because funny enough, right? You know, the post office is the first person that put that rule in place.
What's rule?
The post office. No English. All right. If you're booking a post office load right now, when you contact the broker is gonna say, make sure your driver can communicate in English.
That's from the post office.
From the post office.
Yeah.
Okay, you know why? When you carry a post office mail, you're gonna get specific instruction.
Yeah.
When you pull up to the dock, they're gonna say, all right, you say this seal, if you're going to California and you reach the plant in California and this seal is not on, you're gonna drive back from California to New York for free, because the post office will not receive that load. So if I can communicate that important information to you, it don't make sense.
So you're agreeing with the president then?
I agree. As what Mike said, I'm going to agree because I have to agree, but maybe you need to put something in place. You know what I mean? Just because.
Go ahead.
A lot of persons going to say it's racist, but I can tell you, it's not only Spanish. You have people from Russia. You see the road. You have people from all over. You know what I mean? They don't understand what's
They from
going
India.
on,
They
you
could
know
be
what I
from
mean?
Germany. They could be from all over the place. It's not just.
It's just not like I have an understanding. I was like, all right, I'm in the position, and I always see it weird. I see a truck driver, and where can I check in? No English. But you just checked in.
Somebody
Exactly.
they can do that for capping too. I mean,
Yeah, I
whatever.
understand what I'm saying, but
My overall thing with it is that I think the government or the leadership should put something in place to help, because the economy here is not great. It's not getting better, right? So putting these, I mean, we depend on you guys. Every consumer, household person depend, because when we order from Amazon, it's coming to you. Yeah. When we order from Best Buy or wherever the case may be, some things may be local. If Best Buy would have this product in the Bronx and I'm in New Jersey and I want that product, usually they're gonna ship that product to that location and then I can go, it's still coming through you possibly, right? So you guys are needed at the end of the day. And I'm thinking to isolate and just ban these individuals. I mean, I understand you have a guy who driving those fuel trucks and they can't read a lick or read English or speak English. I mean, driving, does you remember the term I used? That's a bomb.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's signs saying that, low bridge truck should exit.
They happen all the time in the FDR.
Right. So I understand.
Happens on a hutch. Happens on a hutch.
I understand where the president is coming from.
Yeah, I agree with him to go, but I think, as I said, as a leader, instead of one of the things where I don't like with Trump is this harshness, how he go about certain things, right? Like, as an example of this, instead of bulldogging the situation.
Someone like you is very blunt and straightforward, and you dislike that about Trump.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about Trump. That's what I love about Trump.
The bulldog in this, I mean, we are trying to find solution, right?
Yeah,
solutions.
we're doing
right.
that at the same time.
But if I come in every single minute, and I told you, Mike, don't touch this. Then the next time I come in, I see you touch this, I'm gonna throw you at my house, right? Instead of find some type of a solution to keep keep you in the house or keep whatever the case may be. You don't. My thing is, he doesn't give lenient way.
No, he's not supposed
The
to.
moment you fail, you're done.
Yeah.
But that's not how life is. You cannot live
That's
life
how
that
life
way.
is.
That's
That's
exactly how life
No,
is.
it's not.
You're describing an enabler. Are you an enabler, sir? That's enabler.
Mike, let me ask you.
That's
Let me
how
ask
life
both
is.
of you a question. If you come and you did something that offended me, or do something and you deliberately know that you offended me, both of you, right? And as a good friend, wouldn't you like me to pardon you or forgive you?
No. If I did something that
Oh,
deliberately
my goodness.
offended you, if I did something that deliberately offended you, and I know it offends you,
Right.
nah.
Before I did it.
That means I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
What do you
Because
mean? What are you talking about?
I intentionally did it, knowing that
If
you
I'm your
would be
friend-
No,
offended.
let's say
I'm not gonna
let's
deliberately
say-
do something like
let's
that
say-
to disrespect you.
Okay, even if you're intentional, I mean, I would go with intentional. But at the same time, let's say it's an accident, right?
So give us an example of what
It's
you
an
were saying.
accident.
Okay.
You accident. You
Remember,
did
an
something.
accident only happens
No, we're-
once, but
We're
continue.
talking about the president. Give us an example of what happened. Why you stated what you just said.
What?
Yeah.
Like
What-
you said he doesn't give second.
Yeah. Why?
chance.
Why should he grant leniency?
Yeah, I mean, look at his own party, right? As an
His
example,
own partner.
his own party,
His own party,
right?
okay.
Is people who give him guidelines or encourage him to go left or go right, or this is not a bad decision. Now, the problem with him, as I said, this dictatorship, what he has, is that if I come to you and I say, you know what, Justin have a vision of, you know what, if I walk over to that camera and then I stand beside it, it would be a nice thing. I would say to Justin, you know what, Justin, I think if you walk to the left and back up.
Are we talking about Trump or are you making up something?
No, listen to the scenario now, man.
All right,
I mean,
go
he's
ahead.
speaking it up.
No,
and
go
why
ahead,
you
continue.
can't?
No, continue.
So, and I suggest that, okay, you do this. The moment I said that, I would say that to him. Justin is going to like, you know what, to hell with you. I don't want to hear crap from you. Get out of here.
But when did he do that?
He do it all the time with his party. I mean, anytime, the problem with
The
Trump.
only time he does that is
listen,
because he gives specific
the problem with
instructions and they
Trump-
don't follow instructions. So
no,
you don't follow
Trump
instruction.
looking for kiss ass. That's one of the things. If you, regardless if he's wrong or
This
right,
He's not looking for
this
yes
like-
men.
If-
He
if
is not
you
looking for
go
yes men.
against Trump, you're out of his circle. If you make a suggestion, you're out of his circle. Look how many people he did
That's
that.
Where?
not-
Okay,
that's
I
not
need
true.
to see
That's
where
not
are
true.
these
Oh, my
examples.
goodness.
I need the examples where you're citing
That's
this
not true.
because
They-
that is not the case at all.
Yeah.
He gives out certain instructions. They do not follow those instructions.
I
Since they do
swear
not
you
follow
and
those
Mike. No, I
instructions-
know. I used to tell Mike, but you
You
guys,
know, not
you're living
everyone-
on the rock.
You
I
know-
don't live under a rock. I need to
You
know. I
live-
need to know exactly where you
There
go.
is, matter of fact,
Where is this information at? Because everybody that he's fired, the reason why he's fired them is because they haven't done their job. They haven't done what they were supposed to do. Okay, when you were hired by the president of the United States, okay, you were not to. The only time you advise him is if he asks you to advise.
let me
him.
try. Let me see if I can find
Yes.
some names for you guys because I swear you guys are living on a rock.
Oh, it's not
This
that.
was also in
No,
Congress.
you
is his
making up
first
stuff
term.
like CNN. That's what you're doing.
He did this even in his first term, and even when he was out of office.
Fake
when
news.
people talk about him, at the end of the day, and give him 2 cents or suggestions or opinion or
So
whatever.
what?
the
He's
case
a
is.
bad man because he defends himself?
No. People have, again. The problem is that Trump. If Trump say, "This is it," he expects you to say, "This is it."
Yeah.
He doesn't want your opinion.
He didn't ask for it.
But
If he wanted your opinion, he would ask for it.
No, the problem is that if you're putting things, you're a leader, and you have people who there are guiding you, helping you.
okay.
You're not that smart, right? You need people. The
Okay.
smartest person, let's go with your boy Elon, right?
Mm-hmm.
As much as Elon may be smart, he still need people. Other
Yeah.
people out there to help him make certain decisions,
Okay.
to help him make relative decision and good decisions.
Okay.
Whether it's technology or whether it's business-wise or
And you're
personal.
saying
Okay.
Trump is not like that?
Trump now, in other words, that if Trump do something or say something and you may share your opinion and say that, Mr. Trump, I don't think going down
That's not true because not
Eden
everyone.
Wall Avenue or Baychester
Let me
Avenue
tell you
is
why
a
that's
good
not
idea.
true, right? Because within that circle, right, or within the administration, most of them disagree on this tariff or trade war
Yeah.
importation fee. They disagree with
They
it.
can't-
And he
Constantly
get
disagree
rid
with
of them.
No,
No, he
Elon
doesn't.
disagrees with it.
What?
Elon disagrees with
because
me.
it's affecting Elon.
When is that? That I'm not aware.
That's
because
what
it's
I'm
affecting
saying.
Elon.
He's like, you're not paying attention to what's going on. Of course, he would disagree. It's affecting his business.
Yeah, it's affecting him.
Of
No,
course.
he wasn't. When he started affecting his business, that's when he started.
Mike,
Because listen,
these guys are some of the most brilliant guys on planet Earth, right? Common sense would tell you, if me and you and Justin or Michael know, right, that these importation fee are going to affect Tesla company, they would know that too. You
no,
don't think
because
so?
listen, no, because whatever plan they have to put infringe this on the public, right? Somewhere down the line, I think that there's some type of side one thing where these guys are going to benefit from it. Now, what happened is it seemed like it backfired. And now they started crying. Now, oh, well,
The government is not as stupid as you guys think.
no, you should be surprised that they are that
They're
dumb.
not. They're not.
They are that dumb.
When the government go ahead, right, and impose a 10% importation fee on China, and our neighbors, our allies, right, he imposed a 25% importation fee
On our neighbors.
They're thinking, because normally we have a free trade agreement going on between Canada and Mexico,
through NAFTA,
right?
North
All
American
right.
Free Trade
So when I
Agreement.
impose a 10% importation fee on you, I would say, okay, no problem. I'll just go to Mexico or Canada and give them like, a 1% or 0.5 and bring my products through Mexico or Canada.
That's why you have to start taxing
If these guys didn't have some sidewinder crap going on in the back end, why they
But
hold on?
where you
Why
getting
they
that
were
from?
why they were on what's the name? Amazon owner
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Why they were on Jeff Bezos behind when Jeff Bezos said, "Here's what I'm gonna do. I am
Jeff
going to
Bezos
show
did not
you
say that. He did not say that. And that's a third-party company
what."
that works with Amazon who did that. That wasn't Amazon itself who did
No,
that.
Trump went back to Jeff Bezos and said, "Yo, you gotta pull that." If I didn't have any problem with that, if what I am doing,
Where did you see that?
if
Where
what
did
I
you
am
see that?
doing,
No,
what-
where did
what?
you see that?
It was in the news. It was in the matter of
What
fact,
news?
even in
CNN?
Congress.
CNN?
No, it wasn't on
What
Congress.
news?
It
What
was
news?
on Fox,
Saying
your
what?
own channel.
No,
I
saying
don't know
what?
why-
Saying what? Saying what?
Saying what?
Because I'm following this,
I'm following it too.
Yeah, so Fox
So,
said
again-
Trump called Jeff Bezos and said to what?
After Jeff Bezos said,
That's
after
not how
Jeff
it
Bezos
works.
understand,
That's not
because
how it
one of his peers told him that, hey, what's going on now? Jeff Bezos said he's applying the
Stop
information.
misinform the public.
No, it's
Misinform the
not. It's
public.
out there, people.
Listen.
Please do your research.
Let me tell
Go
you
on
this.
and do that. Don't listen to this one. He basically is covering up for
No, he's
all
not.
this time. He's covering up for people. Please go your research. I do fact checks.
Mike,
right?
let me ask
Please
you.
go and do your research.
Go on CNN.
Go on YouTube. Go to Fox. Go to Fox. That's one of them. I'm not even putting in CNN. In fact, go to Fox, the most racist and biased network out there. Go to Fox, and you will see the same incident what we're talking about. If that was the case, why then they have a problem with Jeff Bezos putting the turf price beside of what you and I are gonna pay for? Trump told him, pull that shit. They have some type of discussion, and Jeff like, oh, you know what? Oh, it was a mistake. We're gonna work it out.
It wasn't Jeff Bezos. That was a third-party affiliate of Amazon that was going to do
I
that.
keep saying that, and you're not listening. It was not.
Bezos jumped in their ass too about that. Yo, you crazy? Do you have any idea what kind of that?
So you're telling me a third party company is making decision for this man? I mean, that's gonna affect.
Because they're a third-party affiliate that handles that particular area.
Okay, so you're
That's
thinking
why Bezos jumped in their ass. It's like, nah, you got to take that off. What's wrong with you? You're gonna mess up my business.
that's not how it went. But then again,
Yes,
I mean,
that's exactly
how
how
it
it
went.
went.
That- anyway.
And it wasn't Jeff Bezos, because Jeff Bezos is not the CEO of Amazon anymore.
Exactly.
And the Jesse.
He is
So
what do you call? You
Jeff
he's just
Bezos is the owner. We're not talking about no CEO. He's the owner
he's the
of the
executive
company.
chairman. I
he's
get it, but
executive
he's not the
chairman.
CEO. He
He's
doesn't
not the
make
CEO.
these
We're not talking
decisions.
about CEO. The CEO can make
Yeah.
decisions. We are
But-
talking
No,
about
you
the
got to
owner.
remember, Amazon is run by a chair by a
Run by a board.
Exactly.
And most of these companies run by a board. At the end of the day, he still can make decision. It's night.
The only way he can make does he have controlling interest? Does he have 51%?
The board only can override him to a certain extent.
How much does he have?
8% of.
So he doesn't have controlling interest then.
8%.
So he can't say
Jeff
anything.
Bezos have 8%.
Google it. 8%.
8%.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Eight. You said
What I don't know.
Eight.
Ocho.
There's no controlling interest there.
Ocho.
What I don't
just
know,
getting a
I'm
nice
not
fat
gonna
check.
argue on. What I don't know, I'm not gonna argue on. But at the same time,
What you mean? You've been arguing over this.
no, I'm saying pertaining to that, what he owns. What he owns pertaining to that. But at the end of the day, he still owns the company. Yes, the board can override him majority of the case, but there.
Oh, it's correction. Fact check. It's 8.6.
So it's the 0.6.
So he was off by 0.6. No, like you said, that was a third-party affiliate that pulled that nonsense. That was not Bezos.
It was Jeff Bezos.
Listen.
You see,
And I bet you any amount of money that third-party affiliate that pulled that nonsense, I bet you any amount of money.
Yo,
They are heavily
Fired.
receiving donations from the Democratic National.
Oh, here we go now. Here
Yes.
we go. How are they gonna receive? Are they receiving donations from?
Okay,
the
find out the name of the third-party company, and I'll find out who their biggest donor is. And I bet you any amount of money, it's a Democratic. It's a Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because that's what it says. It sounds like propaganda and nonsense.
You see people. You see the bias.
And mind you, I'm a Democrat. I can run my mouth. You know.
Yeah, we
I'm
can
a
run
real
them out.
Democrat.
Yeah, I'm a
not
Democrat
weirdo.
too.
I'm a real Democrat. I'm not a weirdo with green hair. I don't play no funny man, botsy man behavior, nothing like that. I'm a real hardcore Democrat.
you only
They're
see.
I
coming.
don't engage in funny man business.
They're coming for you. I told you.
They can come for me. I got hands, bro.
the only CEOs who's able to make a decision like that in their company,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really affect them in a negative way is Elon.
Bill
So
Gates.
Elon.
You have Bill Gates.
How much of?
Bill's evil, bro. He's a eugenicist.
I agree with you. I agree with you. That man is a devil himself.
I'm on you too, Bill.
He's a demon.
You, Bill, the nation state of Israel, George Soros. I ain't forget about you neither. Yeah, that's right. I'm a troublemaker.
Look, at the end of the day, listen, I don't know, but
Bill Gates own what? 45% of his company.
So he doesn't have controlling interest neither.
of course he does have control.
Who have
No, you gotta have 51. You gotta have 51%.
Yeah,
to
you're
have
right.
controlling
Which is
interest.
Elon have 51%.
Elon
of
has
Tesla.
You gotta have 51.
Yep.
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, look.
And Donald Trump has 100% controlling interest because that's the king. Long
his
live the
what?
king. He has 100% controlling interest, Donald Trump,
In what?
in the United States of America because that's the king. Long live the king.
You're right, man. You even have our guests cracking up.
Mike.
type of-
Well, no, Mike number 3, he
type
gets
of
me
bull.
started. That's what happened. He gets me started. He gets me. I see what it is. I'm right in the middle because I'm a Democrat for Trump. So I agree with Mike, and then sometimes it's funny. It's very little things I agree with Mr. Porter, but what it is, I love engaging with Mr. Porter because we actually break out some really good points.
because I actually bring principle and balance to this forum.
You bring no principle and balance, okay? You bring CNN and leftist propaganda remarks that
I watch your network.
Yeah.
Fox.
That's
I
not
watch
my
your
network, bro.
That's your
My
network.
network is C-SPAN.
Well, is your baby
You know
Trump
my
over
network?
there
My network is Telemundo. That's my network. Telemundo. That's my.
Now, here's another thing in the industry. What I'm
So,
when you're going something.
yeah, so it would be like, let's see, the garage, right? Mike Mason made a post, and he said, garage is giving away free so-and-so, you know? He's a friend of the pod, but he doesn't own the pod, and he doesn't get to make that decision, right? So it's something similar that happened with Amazon. It's not Amazon said, hey, you know, we're going to increase the price or put the difference beside the price for everyone to see what or how this trade war is affecting the business.
Amazon will lose so much money if they did that.
It shouldn't be a big deal at the end of the day. Why they make it a big deal?
is.
No, it's a very big deal.
Yeah, because they are being transparent.
No, they're not being transparent.
course they're being
No,
transparent.
they're not. That's
How?
those are playing political games. Okay, that's what you're doing because we have never
That
ever
may
seen.
be a- that may be a portion
we're
of it,
fully
yes.
aware that there's tariffs.
This conversation need to take place behind closed door before it gets to the media, the mainstream media. So Jeff, as I said, Jeff Bezos increased the price, and Donald Trump called him and tell him to cut it out and take it down.
Well, they have
it
some
would-
workout.
it wouldn't
Some
take place
workout
like that.
according to.
Yeah.
I'm sure Donald Trump have Jeff Bezos' number, and
Yeah.
vice versa, right? They would call each other and say, hey, I'd like to come check you at Mar-a-Lago.
Exactly.
And have a
Jeff,
conversation about so and so.
come down to Mar-a-Lago.
He's not just gonna go do that without having that conversation with
Why
them.
wouldn't?
Why would you want to go
No,
up
that's
against
a-
Donald Trump?
Yeah, that's
Yo,
that's
that
not
stock
smart.
fell
Why-
like
why-
that stock fell like 9%
Why he wouldn't?
that day.
Yeah.
Until
It did fall like
Amazon-
9%, right?
No, his stock didn't fail.
It did.
Yeah, Amazon stock dropped.
Amazon
9%
stock
until
fell?
he had
Fell.
to correct himself. Yeah.
Remember, I told you I was
Well-
trading the stock and I was up 50%.
So-
and I was thinking about pulling it or holding on until
So
tomorrow.
maybe that's why he
and
he-
before
he
the market
revert.
opened, it fell.
That's
what
why
I'm
he maybe revert because he was really gonna impact him as well, but he still was being transparent.
Impact. Ooh.
You said his Amazon stock fell
No,
after
but like
they
I
made
said,
the
yeah,
announcement, right?
But 9% is nothing crazy.
It's not, but you don't know
I
how
mean,
far
it
it was
still
gonna
drops,
go.
yeah.
You don't know how far you could have keep on dropping. You don't
That's
know.
what I'm saying. Amazon came out and cleared that all up, saying
Yeah.
that this.
I would too.
This was not done. 9% is not like.
And that
Google
wasn't-
fell
But you don't
9%
know.
today.
But you don't know where. I mean, it fell 9%, right? But we don't know what tomorrow holds. Tomorrow could come and then it fell another 9%,
Right.
and then it fell another 5%,
Yeah,
and
but
it
the
keep
news
on
was
dropping.
not real though, or it was not Amazon who did that.
Yeah, it was a third party company.
Okay,
That was
but
in
at the
charge.
same time, I bet you,
They don't have
You
any
think-
say or any
you
saying
think
decision.
Okay,
making
let me
is-
ask you this question.
within
Let's
Amazon.
say they made that decision, right? The third party company made that decision, right? And when they check it out, because of whatever, people probably applauding them or whatever the case when they start like skyrocket up. You think they would have pulled that?
Pull what?
What do you mean?
If Amazon stock, when they made the decision of being transparent, right? Showing the
That's
public.
not being
Listen what I'm
transparent.
saying. Listen what I'm saying. If they're being transparent by showing whatever, yes, we may understand that there's some political rim.
Yeah,
there.
that's
I'm
not
not gonna dismiss
That's
that.
playing a
Yes.
game, man.
We don't know what it could be. 10%, it could be 15% of political game, and it could be 20% or 30% of business wise. We don't know. At the end of the day, we know they have some political rim inside of it, right? So what I'm saying is that if that third party made that decision, and the society gravitate towards it, and yeah, and because of that, the stock skyrocket up. You think Amazon was gonna pull that information,
That's
They
not
had
real.
to.
That's
They
not
had to.
realistic.
why they would have to?
Because it wasn't done by them. It wasn't done
Yeah,
by
but he's benefiting from it. Remember, he's in
the stock
business,
would
you know.
go up temporarily, right?
You don't know if
But
it was gonna be temporary
Then
or
you
it
would
would
have
go
a
up.
bad.
Exactly.
You would
Drop
have a
down.
bad relationship with the current administration, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
Well, again, remember
Amazon
as I
is not
said,
too big to fail, you know that, right?
nobody's too big to fail.
Nah,
Nobody.
Amazon. What? The post office is too big to fail.
You
What are you
crazy.
talking about?
Any
the banks are too big to.
no.
Bank of America.
The banks are too big.
No,
It's too big to fail.
All of them.
No. They're not. If they were failing, look at Chase, Bank of America, they were failing.
Yeah, but that's why they get bailed
step
out.
But so that they were failing.
They're too big to fail.
No,
They're
too big to fail.
Failing.
There are some bigger.
Listen. You see.
There are bigger banks
If-
out there that also
if
the
Chase
government,
Bank
the
fails-
government allow them to fail.
There are certain companies that are too big to fail because
McDonald's-
if they fail, as the country, we collapse. Do you not understand? If those banks would have failed, everything would
They
have
were failing.
collapsed.
The government has to
So-
step
yeah,
in. Right.
so that's why because they're too
But
big to
again,
fail.
but then you have big companies, banks out there that did fail. Like for instance, WAMU, right? WAMU was big like Chase, and the government allowed them.
Nah, WAMU was nowhere near as big as
crazy.
Chase. You crazy?
bro.
Yes, I'm
Washington
talking about.
Mutual
I
is
used to
like-
work for WAMU.
WAMU
too,
was
you know.
like
What are you
a
talking about?
boutique
Washington
bank.
Mutual?
Washington Mutual?
Yes.
Nah, come on.
Nah, you crazy.
Dude.
You're crazy.
Anyway, the government allowed them to fail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
were
because they're
huge.
not.
Someone have
Because
to
they're
fail.
not. They're
Yeah,
not
but
as
I'm
big.
saying it's a political rim. If you guys were comes with that yeah, I agree with what you are talking about. The government pick and choose who they allow to fail. They more look on, like, for instance,
So
Chase
if
and
They're not
were
picking
to-
and choosing.
Of course they're picking and
It comes
choosing.
to money. Don't you understand?
regardless of you,
WAMU
however
is not,
you're gonna sweet it
WAMU
up.
does not have the kind of money Chase got.
Of course
They do
they
not
do.
have the kind of money that
What?
Bank of
You
America
crazy?
has. They don't have that kind of money. They really don't.
Guys, I don't know. what
Remember,
you guys-
WAMU was a member. The banking cartel, which is owned by the Rothschilds, all those big Citibank, Chase, Bank of America, those are the big three. These other ones that we see, WAMU, what are those other ones? WAMU, Wachovia,
Citibank.
Citibank's a big one, but
Citibank is
No,
Wachovia,
not Citibank. I mean, Citizen.
Wachovia,
Citizen.
WAMU, Pilot Bank,
Those are
Fifth
like
Third Bank.
those
People's
banks are
Bank.
like mom and pop's banks.
Well, that's what WAMU is.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
WAMU wasn't that big, man.
yeah, WAMU wasn't that big.
So, all right, so check this out.
I'm like, they were big, but they wasn't as big as like Chase, Citibank, or Bank
They
of
were
America.
up there with Chase and Bank
No,
of
no,
America and Citibank. They were up there. What are you talking about? They, matter of fact, they had between them and Chase has most of the housing. This is why they failed so big, because they had so many a big handprint in the housing crisis.
Well, also they were underwritten by
Mike, we're
Countrywide,
gonna-
and
we're gonna-
Countrywide was doing
we're gonna
predatory lending.
disagree. Yeah,
I mean, that is the beauty of life.
we're gonna
you know.
disagree on
Agree
that.
to disagree.
All right, so check this out. Second to the post office, McDonald's employ the most people in America. Second to the post office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who manage McDonald's books or bank account?
I have no idea.
Chase Bank. Do you know who manages the post office bank
Chase
account?
Bank too?
Chase Bank.
Bank.
So imagine this bank fail and none of these people can get
You
paid.
see, and I'm glad you're bringing it. You see, I'm coming back to my point. The government pick and choose who they choose to.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
trying
they're
to
too
say.
big,
Big
because
to
they're
fail.
too big to
because they're
fail.
big to fail.
Michael, you
That's
understand
the
what I'm saying,
meaning.
right?
Look,
That's the money. That's the meaning.
Explain
of
to him.
Listen,
Explain to him.
if
Explain to him,
listen,
man.
listen. If the government see that, listen, at the end of the day, Chase is handling 90% of the post office, or 80% of who
100%.
100% of which other company?
McDonald's.
McDonald's. At the end of the day,
And this is
Now,
what I know of. You know. This
logically-
is the biggest.
technically,
Yeah.
I am not going to allow that bank to fail.
No, you
Right?
can't. They're too big
No,
to fail.
again, that's what I'm saying. Now, if I come down now, WAMU was an example which we were on base. WAMU now,
You said WAMU was as big as
and I
Chase.
said, and I'm standing my ground.
No, they're
with that.
not.
And I said, no, WAMU
Yeah.
come, which it happened in real life. It's not a reality. It's an actuality because they failed.
Uh-huh.
And the government did not step in to help them.
because
No.
there was not that.
What
they
you
wasn't
mean?
so big.
Because
They
there wasn't
own
that.
90% of the housing market. What are you talking about?
Ooh.
WAMU.
Oh, 90% of which I was
But
in
you got to
water.
remember, they were underwritten.
Why you think?
Drink some water.
No, they're not. They're not. You got to remember. Let's put it this way: if WAMU was as big as you said they would when they went down,
Chase is the one who
Part of
bought.
our-
He's
Part
talking
of our
about
economy
Lehman
would've
Brothers.
toppled.
He's talking about Lehman Brothers.
part of our
No,
economy.
I'm not talking
would've-
about Lehman.
Part of our economy would have toppled if WAMU would have went down. When WAMU went down, it didn't affect us. Yeah, there was people that had
No,
certain
because
mortgages.
Chase bought them out.
All right, so what does that tell you?
Chase stepped in and
What
bought
does that
them
tell
out.
you? If Chase
Big
bought
fish.
them out, what
Because
does
they
that
got
tell
the
you?
money from
What is
Burma.
that? Because
Listen,
big bank
big-
take
big
little
little
bank.
bank.
No,
There you go.
No.
Big bank.
That's
Here's the
why.
thing.
Big little bank.
Both of them were failing, right? Obama said, listen, I am going to make the choice of allowing Chase not to fail. WAMU, you can fail.
Why?
Then,
Why?
then
Chase got
I-
more
for
bread.
whatever
Why?
Whatever reason, it's because of politics.
No, Chase got more bread, man.
Now, Obama says, all right, I am going to save Chase, right? I'm going to give Chase won $50 million to survive.
Million.
50 million Chase won to stay.
Million?
It
Listen,
wasn't million, it was billions.
no, it wasn't billion.
billions.
Let's look it up. That I will
Million?
give you $1,000 for it. It was 50 million. 50 million they
Million?
wanted to stay above ground level.
Listen.
Obama said, you know what? Hold on again. I give you 250 million. For what? You need 50 million to survive. And you wind up, eventually, and they still didn't pay. And then this jackass now went back and started investing that same money overseas and lost all what? 90% of it. 90% of it. The Chase CEO. After Obama bailed their ass out and they went and buy
Who, Jamie
WAMU.
Dimon? No, not Jamie.
No,
Who's the Chase
Jamie
CEO?
Dimon is Morgan Stanley.
No, Jamie Dimon Citibank. What who's
No,
the
Jamie Diamond is
Morgan
Chase.
It's
Jamie
Chase.
Diamond
Yeah.
is
Chase,
Chase.
Chase.
I mean,
Chase,
Chase,
yeah.
Chase. What I'm talking about? Working for the. Anyway, Obama stepped in and saved Chase, which Chase
He
wanted
saved a couple.
50
He saved a couple. He saved AIG.
Right.
He saved Chase.
He said, how much did he say just now? 50 million?
How much was it? It was in the billions. I remember this.
Let him tell you.
I remember this. How many? What's the amount, Mike? Mike number 3.
25 billion.
Billion, right? With a
25
B.
billion.
I told you, not $50 million.
50 million?
50
What's 50 million
Come on,
to
man.
Chase? What can Chase do with 50
I got
million?
$50 million buried in the yard, bro. It ain't shit. Come on, man.
Anyway, okay, let's say.
How much does the CEO of Chase get paid?
Listen, I get a tongue twisted
What's
right
the-
there, right?
what's the-
Okay, so 25, matter of fact, even less. 25 billion,
billion
right?
dollars. Billion.
Chase, Obama step in and give them 250 billion, right? 250 billion, and they only want 25 billion to survive, to stay above water level, right? The fact that, and WAMU now was there failing, which they also couldn't, because one of the things why the housing crisis coming is because WAMU now was losing the industry, losing the housing industry, which Chase have like probably about 15 or 20% in the industry with the housing crisis.
When did
right?
WAMU fail? Because WAMU failed before.
That was a
No,
while ago.
WAMU
I remember the
failed.
commercials.
It was 2008. What are you talking about? In
Yeah,
2008.
WAMU. That was
That was
what were
when
they
the-
promoting?
when the
Free checking.
The recession started hitting.
They were promoting free
And
checking.
it was
WAMU. I
that
remember
because
that.
of the housing crisis why we
I
had
know
that
WAMU
recession.
account.
in
Yeah, because
2008.
you got to remember all those loans through the housing crisis that was underwritten by Countrywide. Countrywide was doing predatory loans.
The Chase Bank that was Washington Mutual, WAMU.
Yeah.
I don't even remember it, but when it came.
What I remember about Washington Mutual is that WAMU free checking. I remember that
That's it.
free checking.
I don't know what you guys, I mean, well, again, as I said, we're gonna
Interesting conversation. But as you could see, people, he just fear mongers and spread fake news all the time, right?
yeah, Trump,
He
right?
doesn't do
Fake
like a
news,
proper
like
research
Trump, right?
before.
Everything is fake for him
Eh?
too, right? I guess you're a junior anyway, so
Before
you
he
would, like dad, like father,
Look,
like
look.
father, like son. I mean,
Before he
Trump
steals
isn't-
information
Trump isn't
from between his
perfect.
retarded lips, he does.
Trump isn't perfect.
you're gonna see the sign soon. You're gonna see the sign.
What sign?
Trump isn't
You're
perfect,
gonna
but
see the
he's
sign.
transparent.
The sign, what's coming to the
Before
economy.
you spew information to the public, right? You
Exactly.
need to do your research.
Exactly.
Okay? Stop doing like these Democrats
Who?
and
Everything is
fear mongering,
Democrats.
telling peer lies and so
Fear
don't do that,
mongering.
People,
'Cause
Propaganda.
People are watching, right?
people, you have your own mind. You have your
Information.
your gadgets.
Yeah, but remember,
Please
people, research. Don't
go-
go off of what you feel because
Please-
feelings are not facts. Facts are not
There you
feelings.
go.
Please
There you
go
go.
and do your research based on the
but we have
content.
someone here who's doing the business, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's telling the guy about, no, that's not what taking place.
What I told him that's not taking place. What I said, I share with him that they're closing down the market. This is what's in the news. This is what also was
Closing
coming
down
from
which
Congress.
market, man? They're trying to make a deal. So it would be like, I'm your supplier, right? And you're selling to Justin, and I say, yo, stop
You know what?
dealing with Justin.
let me
Listen,
see.
up. Stop dealing with Justin. I want you to deal with me and Mike right here, right? So you are telling me that, I'm gonna sell to Justin. I'm gonna sell to Justin. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm gonna cut off 75% of your supply. Sell to Justin. I'm gonna give Mike that 75%. You know. So we're
That's
trying
business,
to meet
man.
on a common ground. The president are the US and China.
Yeah.
So that's what gonna take place in Switzerland.
Remember,
So
this
let's
is.
see.
You have to remember, the United States is a free market enterprise. Okay. Free market enterprise. Okay. We are not communists. We are not socialists. So therefore, nothing
That's
has to
China,
be fair,
yeah.
and we don't have to share anything. What are you laughing for?
Please, folks, listen.
Let's see what he found.
Listen.
I'm gonna be
Please.
entertained by this.
Yes, the significant number of trucking companies are closing down due to the great freight recession that is happening with Trump place, which has reduced demand, lower freight
Mike,
rates, and rates
That's a journalist. Hold on. My name
Who is it?
Okay.
Hold on. That's a journalist, right? Who write that write that report, I report that, right?
Hold
on,
oh
Mike,
You know
listen,
what? I should know
listen,
better. I should
listen.
know better. When you pull up your facts, I didn't try to debunk anything. You heard some of them I tried to do.
Question, right? What company closed down? What big company closed down after he put
Trump impose importation.
What big trunk company?
Google it and tell me.
So what?
What big company closed down? What big trucking company, logistics company, closed down? I mean, XPO Logistics is still around, ain't they? Yeah. Allied is still around, ain't they? Yeah. What's the other big company? What's the other over the road trucking companies?
JBL.
What you report?
You got JBL. What about Stevenson? Stevenson Transport is still around?
You know what? I think Stevenson closed down, but it's before Trump.
That was before Trump.
Yeah.
Post-economy shipments. I mean, come on. This is from even 2022.
I know XPO Logistics ain't going nowhere because...
No, he said since this whole trade war started, right? What big trucking company closed down?
Like they're saying companies closed down. So what big trucking company closed down?
Not because they reported that Elon was leaving Doge or he got fired or his time was up. It doesn't mean it's true. You get what I'm saying? Not because they reported it, it doesn't mean it's true.
What do you mean not because they reported it's true?
All right, so the Washington Post wrote an article saying that
big liberal paper at that too.
Saying that Elon time was up at Doge and they're getting rid of him. The insiders were voting him out. They got information from the administration and from Elon himself saying that nothing, there was no such thing.
Yeah.
Or from the Department of Doge, our Doge member saying no such thing. We still have to report to Elon. He's going back to Tesla to pay attention to the business, Tesla, SpaceX, all those business. But we still have to report to him. And they still released the article, right? Just so they could get viewers or people to read, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's true. And then Elon reported that, listen, this is fake. The members of Doge reported that was fake also. It wasn't true. So not because you read that on your laptop or
what website? Oh my God, I know that was Google, but what website?
It doesn't mean it's true.
What website was that? That wasn't on your news network, was it?
No, that was pulling from the generic wiki and AI information that they get.
No, I know that, but did it say what big company? Because
when I'm looking up specific, because there was more details and I was reading it, but I didn't see anything. So I'm looking up specifically what specific details or what major company was closed down.
Yeah. I mean, the big ones are still here. XPO's one. XPO's owned by Louis DeJoy.
If you have to look for,
Mike, you know of this company called Stellantis?
Stellantis?
It says a temporarily lay off 9,000 U.S. workers after this is in the trucking company, and this was April 4th, 2025.
All right, so
okay.
So I can't tell you if that's a big trucking company.
Big trucking company.
I don't know.
The last major trucking company that closed down is
Yellow Freight.
Yes.
Yeah, Yellow Freight was a big one.
They're big
but
boys.
that was a while ago. When they closed?
Yeah, July 30, 2023. That's the last.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. That was Yellow Freight.
That
Yellow Freight was
closed
huge. You remember Yellow Freight? That they got the big one that it says yellow on the side.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
My uncle drove for Yellow Freight.
One of the main things that, as we said, messed up. This is what not what I think. Someone shared this information with me. A couple years ago, they advertised that trucker was short when it was Corona.
Yeah.
But trucker wasn't short. But when Corona hit, people didn't want to take the Corona shot.
They don't want to take the vaccine.
So the next best thing was trucking. A lot of truck.
Independent trucking.
Yeah, a lot of person went in the trucking business. Invest. So now, all that advertisement, too many truckers in the business now.
It's saturated.
Yes.
Not enough money.
So
But it's
the
not enough.
brokers,
It's not enough money to go around
the
when it's
brokers
saturated.
realize what's taking place and said, all right, if I post a load for $1,000, if yellow diamond don't take it, blue diamond will take it for five. So now it's a bidding process. So it went lower and lower and lower
Started undercutting each other. No profit was being made.
because everybody just wanted to move, no profit. So I think that's where it started first. So the person who is making most of the money, I talked to brokers more than one time. They said it's the brokers, the person that's doing the less work. Because
That's always, you know,
yeah, the customer give the broker the load and the broker.
give the driver.
But I think there's gonna have agreements coming soon where the broker and the customer have to make it public how much the load is paying. Across the board, so nobody.
Oh, so let me get this. So if I'm the company,
Transparency. See, now that kind of transparency I can
right?
roll with.
So if I'm the company and I'm paying like $2,000 for this load, you're the broker. You say to Justin and Mike, they're paying $1,000, you know, when I'm really paying $2,000.
Yeah.
So you get $1,000 right there, and Mike is like $1,000. I can't even fill my tank, and Justin is like, you know what? I have to pay this.
And that's what happens.
Exactly.
Let me ask, what is the split between a broker and a driver?
You will never know.
Really?
Me personally, right?
Wait, they don't tell you guys? So there's not...
No.
Because I don't think the driver probably get like, it'd be like an 80-20 split if the broker's getting,
As-
if brokering other deals or something like that.
I'm an owner operator, so
Okay.
we maybe look for business sometimes. So I will talk to customer.
Yeah.
I specifically talked to a customer maybe a couple months ago. This load was going to Georgia. So when I was going to a convention center. So the guy said to me, you know where you're going? And I said, yeah, always, because the convention center is normally important load. So conversation started. Long story short, I asked the guy, how much you pay the broker for this load?
Yeah.
He said to me, it was a Chinese guy too. He said to me, no, you tell me first how much the broker paid. So I said, all right.
I see where you're going,
Yeah,
right?
but I said, all right, but I said, no. But it's no joke. I'm going to tell him a number that's not going to make no sense. I said, you know, the broker paid me $1,500 to bring this load. And after that, he was like, you know, I just paid the guy $3,000 for this load. The broker give me the load for $2,000. And he sit down behind his computer and make $1,000 not doing nothing.
And then how many? I was just about to say, I said, damn, I was thinking, I was just saying that.
No,
I
the
should be a
broker license
broker.
is a good thing to get.
Brokers make some good bread.
But you have to always remember, you can have time where they lose because say they have their customer where one of the biggest brokers like TQL.
Yeah.
On several occasions, if a person come off a load like last minute, they need to get this freight move.
Doesn't get there in time.
For it to get there in time, they pay any amount of money. So this load might be paying.
So if it doesn't get there, it's a free load.
No.
Like if it doesn't get there,
Or it's
on time,
prorated, like it's discounted or something if it doesn't get there on time.
No, but certain things have to get there in time. So that's why you have team driver. I like, if I'm bringing a load to the airport and they said, yeah, the plane is leaving tomorrow. So for instance, I'm going to pick up the load. The point I'm trying to prove, I'm going to pick up the load, but my truck break down. They will pay $10,000 for this to make the plane, no matter what.
Oh.
So in that times, the broker will lose because the customer already
It's like you
$5,000.
guaranteed it.
Yes.
You know, like
So
Express.
the broker actually gets a big reward, but he also has a very big risk
very
Risk,
big risk.
yeah.
So
because drivers still get paid. Sometimes a broker could eat.
no, the driver can't get paid. If
Oh,
the driver
okay.
don't bring the load, he can't get paid.
Oh damn.
But
Okay.
a next driver will get paid.
But
Yeah.
the broker would always get the funds already.
Nah, but sometimes the broker loses out. He's saying.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
the broker,
the broker
sometimes
loses
it's a
out.
win and lose game because sometimes
So it's like our product, right? One of our product, which is our most expensive product, you would say. Express, right?
Express
So
milk.
they guarantee you that it's gonna get delivered the next day.
Or at a
And
certain
if it
time.
if it doesn't get delivered the next
back
day at
the
a certain
postage.
time, you get back your money.
At a
I
certain
get a
time.
refund.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, no.
It used to be.
It used to be
before
12. Remember, it used to be.
Yeah,
It used to
they
be. We
moved
used to have 3 different times for
to
express
6.
mail. It was 10:30, it was 12, and 3 p.m. What it is, they were losing when
Of
COVID
course
happened.
you're gonna lose.
When COVID happened, really messed up express mail. That they had to change it because we were paying out way too many. Let's put it this way: when COVID happened and people were doing express mail, just my
It's a
till
free
alone,
service.
my till alone, I was probably on a weekly basis, probably cashing out, refunding 5 or 6 express mails. That's just me. That's a lot. So they had to change the time to 6 p.m. because it was getting like really, really bad.
Yeah. So if I paid a fee of let's say $200 to ship this from point A to point B, and you guarantee me it's gonna get there next day,
And
it doesn't. You have to give me back that money and I get free service.
And you get the free,
And
and it's still
A
shipped.
bunch of customers got on to that, and they were taking advantage of that.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
People would normally say something that they don't want to reach, and they don't want it to reach in
But
time.
they want a free
But
service.
they want a free service. So if you're gonna pay $10 to send this, you pay 25 of this, send it just the next day you just go cut it.
Yeah.
25.
And I could tell the customer that, hey, I'll get it to you next day
Yeah.
if you pay me an additional fee.
Yeah.
You know, say if I'm selling it for $5, I'm like, yo, if you give me $8, I get it to you,
next day.
tomorrow. And if it doesn't get there tomorrow, you tell them, oh, sorry, man, so and so and so, but you got back your money.
Exactly.
Got a
because
refund.
It was a guarantee.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, people, we come to the end of this road. We thank you
These
for
conversations are getting good. I forget that we're here so long. Yo, these conversations get really good.
Yeah. We thank our new guest. Matter of fact,
Yes, Mike.
Before
Yeah,
we
anything-
close out, so we want to ask, as usual, and our traditional, our final thoughts based on whatever we were discussing. It doesn't really matter what you can pick out. Your final thoughts, what you were thinking, what based on we're discussing. So, Justin, you can go ahead quickly share our final
Well,
thoughts.
my final thought is, like I said, everything's gonna be fine. Always work towards a goal. Don't believe the nonsense, and stop watching CNN.
Okay, Mike.
Final thought is information is key, and knowing the right information and don't be a follower is key.
True information.
True
Word.
information is key.
Factual
Yeah.
information.
So as Justin said before, everything that they put in place is going to impact either negative or positive. Yeah. But I'm not going to be the one that jump down and beat down on it because it's Donald Trump. I want to see the negative it first, and I said, all right.
What the outcome is.
What the
Right.
outcome. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As I said, Mike is all doom and gloom and
Yeah. Your
fear
final.
monger. Sky is falling. Everything is bad.
Or like Chicken Little.
Right,
No, I
yeah,
just come from a
that's it.
principle and a balanced level. So what is
Principle
your
and
final
bad.
thought?
I mean, you attract what you will. So you have to remember that. So be positive,
Okay.
I mean, that's all I have to say. Be positive.
All right, folks. My piece is just do your research.
Take
And
your own advice.
I'll do my own search. I fact check us as well. So I do
Fact
that.
check.
I fact check us.
Check the party.
So do your research.
So
Stay ahead in the society.
My
Listen.
him saying check the
Listen to different news outlet. Make your decisions based on the wisdom what you have and so forth. But thank you for joining us. We glad you take the time out to indulge in this conversation with us. And again, as I said, not because you're not on the panel, you can chime in by making your comments underneath the video. If you agree or disagree with Mike, Mr. Baby Trump over there, you agree with Toxic, you disagree with our newly guests, feel free to do that. And what I would ask you as usual, feel free to like and share. Spread it to your mother.
Stopping him, I go for the next half an hour. Watch
Yes.
Spread it to your mother, your father, your brother, and sister, mother, and everyone. Again, thank you.
Uncle, nephew, niece,
Thank you for
Cousins.
joining us.
cousin.
We'll see you next week. As what the
Yes.
crew said,
Peace.
peace.
Mr. Maga Porter for Vice President 2028 to JD Vance.
It's coming. It's coming. But not with Vance.
It's coming with Vance, bro.
We out.